Knowing this near universal pattern helps to assess new brands and existing ones.
What don't marketers know?
Quite a lot, don't we?
I actually live in an anything-goes world where the latest fashion or fad drives an awful lot of practice.
Segmentation is the recognition you can't serve everyone with equal satisfaction.
This is the Zac Anesbury Show.
Welcome. On today's podcast clip, we have Associate Professor Müller from Northwest University, South Africa. So you do like some really cool stuff, especially because you do not just sit in your office, which I find kind of refreshing. You engage with industry, quite often with local entrepreneurs, and there's a particular wine estate as well, which I know if I try to pronounce it, I'm going to get it incorrect. But I think that's really kind of cool that you aren't just thinking, oh, okay, I just need to make sure I teach, or I need to manage courses and programs and campuses, and I don't just need to publish, but, I want to have an impact on the world as well. Like, is that something that you're quite passionate about, or that you've always wanted to do?
I think that links with my teaching philosophy back then, the authentic learning, implementing real world problems and solving real world problems. So of the companies that I've worked for, they've been involved in our marketing programs one way or another. Middle Wine Estate, we've worked with for 2 years. So during COVID, we had alcohol prohibitions in South Africa. So for a long time, no one was allowed to sell alcohol. The government reasoned it overcrowded our ER rooms. And after that, the whole wine industry took a big knock. And the wine farm reached out to us, and we helped them with some branding and marketing ideas. The next year, I wanted to get another company in, and the guy phoned me immediately when he saw the advert. He's like, I don't know what your plans are, but we need to do this again. So yes, to get industry involved and to show students what's happening out there. And I think the most rewarding thing is to see how they implement the ideas and how it works. It's
a huge endorsement, the fact that they were banging down your door to come back again.
No, that was quite nice. And myself is really passionate about wine. So
right. I've not had that much South African wine. I do really love wine. I have a cellar under my house. I bought a whole bunch of, being South Australian, it's mostly Barossa and Coonawarra and stuff like that. That will hopefully age pretty well. Tell me about South African wine. I'm quite curious because, it's not that common in Australia.
I think we really need to hook you up with some South African wine. I think we've got probably the best wine in the world. I've traveled to Europe quite often, and I've always been disappointed with wine that I buy there. And I think it would probably be a bit more expensive if you buy it over there. Like in South Africa, it's fairly cheap to buy a really good bottle of wine. You can get a decent bottle of wine for like 100, 200 rand, which I don't know what the exchange rate is currently, but it's fairly cheap over here. We are famous for our red wines. So we've got Pinotage, Merlot. Our Merlot is world famous. Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz. We also have white wines, but the red ones are probably the most famous.
All right. I think that's going to be my mission in the next week or so. I'm going to head down to my local bottle shop, hunt down some South African wines. I know the winery that you have now worked with, so I'll see if I can find anything from then, but I'll let you know how I go. And Merlot, I heard. I do like a good Merlot. And yeah, Merlot. Because it's getting a bit warmer here. So we're in spring and we're starting to head towards summer. So a lighter bodied red like a Merlot would be pretty good.
Cool.
That sounds really fun. So you are super active within your university community as well. So you host, or you attend a whole bunch of different conferences. Is it Stratifica? The conference there?
Strategica.
Yeah. Did you want to tell me a little bit more about that one? I wasn't quite sure what that was.
Okay, so recently we had a very nice trip. I've been searching for a double barrel conference for very, very long, meaning two conferences that are close enough geographically, but also close enough time frame so that you can do it in one trip. And this year, that dream came true with a conference at in Poland, at the University of Czechoslovakia. And then from there, we went to Romania the following week, which was Strategica. Strategica was a fairly smaller conference, especially compared to ANSMAC. I think there was about 100 attendees. And I must say, I really enjoyed connecting with the people at the smaller conference. I think the connection there it's so much more intimate. Even though it was a bit more general, there was only one marketing track. But the connections I made over those 2 weeks was life-altering. We've signed MOUs and Erasmus exchange agreements. I can't wait to go back next year.
Wow, that's a huge endorsement of that conference. So it's a broad business-based conference, and there's a marketing track within it?
Yes, and this year the theme was sustainability. So there was a big drive for sustainable marketing, sustainable business practices. Yes, so within the conference there was, I think, 2 marketing tracks. So it's marketing, business. I think there was some HR, industrial relations also involved.
Okay, and so is it like most other conferences where it changes location every year?
This one is in Bucharest every year. It's hosted by the Romanian Bank. So the first day is usually at the Romanian Bank. Spectacular venue. They took us on a tour in the Romanian Bank as well. They refer to the Palace Bank. It's massive, the ceilings. And you get to hold real gold bars worth millions of euros. It was a truly amazing experience.
Yeah, no, that sounds incredible. I've never been to Romania actually, so I am going to Google that as well. I think that's also like, yeah, I hope other people get a lot out of these podcast recordings, but I certainly do as well. I walk away from it with a to-do list because I just learned so much from people.
Romania was amazing, and I think for a South African, it was fairly cheap to go to Romania. Way back when I went to Australia, it felt expensive from a South African point of view. Whenever you go to Netherlands or Germany or France or the UK, it's expensive to go there. But in Romania, it felt almost like home. If you convert it back, a beer, it's sort of the same price. A meal is about the same price.
All right. I'll definitely have a look at that one. So I think what's kind of, and you alluded to it as well, that these small conferences have a really good networking opportunity because there are fewer people there, but the people that are there are all interested in the same thing. Has that helped you build those connections with other faculties, other universities? Because I've seen you and your team and like visit and present at other universities. Is there connections there?
Yes. The one connection that we had is Prof. Sebastian Kot at the Poland University. Now, Prof. Kot has worked with us for 9-10 years already as an extraordinary professor. So that was a really easy connection to make. Prof. Christian in Romania, however, I had a virtual relationship with him for 4 years. He's been helping us with examiner reports, moderation, and when I went to Poland, I reached out to Christian and asked whether he can hook us up with some guest lectures. Then he suggested the Strategica conference, and the rest is history. But I think the smaller conferences, the interpersonal connections are easier. I must say, ANSMAC is still probably among the top 2 conferences I attended because of the wide variety of marketing-specific people there. No matter who you talk to, there's a marketing name. But the smaller conferences got another intimacy to them.
Yeah, absolutely. For the first time ever, I went to the Marketing Science Conference because it was in Sydney. So, short flight, couple of hour flight for us. Most of the time it's in the US, I'm pretty sure. So that was over 1,000 people. And there was 26 simultaneous tracks or something like that.
Sure.
And yeah, so the first day, a lot of the keynote speakers, which were just running all of the time, they drew big audiences in the auditoriums. But I didn't like the fact that each of the sessions drew maybe 1 or 2 other people, and quite often they were the other presenters. And so you weren't able, I found it not a great way to actually tell the world about your research. And they asked us for feedback afterwards in their questionnaire. So that's what I told them. Because you were competing against big name professors at the same time and 25 other tracks. And it just, I didn't quite like the organization of it. But with ANSMAC, I think there's usually about 5 or 6 other tracks, and they keep the keynotes separately, either in the morning or the evening, differs year to year, and you're not competing against the special guest or the headline name, so to speak.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I guess the goal is you have to become the headline name one day. Hi everyone, Zac here again, and just a few quick reminders before you go. If you're listening to the podcast and are considering incorporating it into your secondary school or university courses, then please let me know and I can guide you through the process. If you're enjoying the show and getting some insights from it, then please leave me a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform. It would go a long way to spreading the word. If you know someone who would benefit from this content, then I would be thrilled if you could consider sharing this episode and its knowledge with them. And finally, thank you for becoming part of the community for this show.